Okay, so thank you guys for coming again today for our second day of training. And welcome back. Thank you. Everybody's here. Hopefully all tech issues are resolved.
Yes.
Yes. So I had, just for your own purposes, for you guys, I actually sent you just maybe 5 minutes before our meeting, the video, the YouTube video. It took a while for it to upload onto YouTube, but it is now available for viewing of yesterday's training. So you're able to see that. And then if so go back to it if there's any questions, especially for you, Janice. I know you weren't able to make a little bit of the first part. And I think that's the last part. Really, all we did was I just gave remote control access to Dave and to Nadine, and so they pretty much did the same thing you did.
Okay.
Navigating some of the features, which we'll look at again today. So, so today's training, let's see. I wanted to kind of go over some of the actual training manual too. And because I did a little backwards yesterday. I started talking about the platform and then the big English, which is fine because, each class is a little bit different. So today we'll look at a little bit of the training manual, and we went over this lesson plan, and then we'll also probably briefly go over teacher and student evaluations, which tomorrow I'll have a more comprehensive recording of that. So you have, you'll be able to see like how you get into your account for the rubric, and then how you can access your account for your schedule. Okay. So.
So how many teachers do you have now already working, and how many sessions a week are they teaching?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It all depends on their schedule. So right now we have because we're still fairly new, we have about 10 teachers. We're gaining more as time goes along, and right now they're probably at least 8 to 10 hours a week. So, and then some are less than that, because it depends on their schedule. So, but we are experiencing a high volume of students coming in and, wanting to learn. So, as time goes along, we'll certainly need more teachers. So yeah, and it's been I feel like it's been pretty effective. So hopefully in the future, we'll continue to get more lessons. I switched this up here. Also, I was going to show, that's the sample rubric for you guys. I also have a demo that I was going to show you guys based on one of these, based on the My Body unit. That's the one I wanted to show you. So maybe we'll probably see bits and pieces of a teacher who has demonstrated, I feel, some great enthusiasm in teaching this lesson. So we'll talk about that. First thing, I'm going to try to find the manual. So, and before we get into that too, I have a question for you guys. Do you have any questions for me? And besides, Dave just asked questions, so thank you very much. Do you guys have any other questions from yesterday? Anything that you feel like we need to go over again? Anything like that?
No, I didn't have it.
Nope.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. So, so normally on the first day I'll go over this training manual, but it's all very basic. We've already gone over this during your interview. And I think I wanted to more focus on, talk a little bit about, we have the courseware. You will get access to the courseware, the 6 levels, but there is teacher support. And the support, obviously, I'm one of the support staff, and then we have our team in China. The IT manager in China, his name is Henry, and this is his email here, and his WeChat ID. So it's strongly recommended, actually, if if you do this, I think Dave, you've already added a WeChat and you already have an account. So
Yes.
if you two ladies can get onto your phone, or you can even get a WeChat for web. You can even have it on your computer. You'll still have to have a phone.
See, were you under the impression that we could see something you were just sharing? All I see is the PowerPoint. So you're showing us somebody's IDs?
Let me resume the share here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I was showing you the training manual, and for some reason, yeah, that happens sometimes. Because your toolbar is up on the top, and for whenever you share something, so you can't see sometimes if you stop a share and start a share, and you have to remember that you stopped and started. So my fault. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, so I was just sharing with you the teaching manual, and we're just going to go, and I just wanted to emphasize the teacher support here. So the WeChat ID for Henry is this information here, so you can add him, but for every teacher, once you add me, then I add you guys onto a teacher account. So once we're kind of established, like once you're ready for a trial lesson, I add you to your own group. So you'll be in your own group. So there'll be teacher Nadine group, teacher Janice group, and teacher Dave group. And really what the WeChat is for communication between you, me, and the China team. So especially if there's any lesson, let's say there's a lesson cancellation, or there is something like what Dave asked yesterday, if like last minute lesson or something like that, we can ask you if you're available, or you're sick or something. So that's like giving notification, instant notification, and it's a lot faster and more effective than just regular email. So like today, if we had WeChat, like a little WeChat room or something like that, I could have said, hey, I'm going to be like a minute late or something like that, or 7 minutes late in my case. So something like that. But yeah, so WeChat is just it is the largest communication tool in China, and it's equivalent to WhatsApp, or if you've seen, like a WhatsApp or Skype or something like that. So it's just it's an instant messenger tool. Yeah. So, all right. I think that's that. All right. So today we'll talk. We have already kind of gone over TPR, and we'll review a mock lesson today. Again, like I had said, and then if we have more time, we will look at or at least our rubric system. Okay, so I do want to talk about after training. So once we're done with the training, you guys will schedule with me. You can schedule, and I think this is what the welcome letter says, you can schedule with me a one-on-one for any questions that you might have. But for the most part, you will schedule a trial lesson. Okay, so you'll get all of the levels, and you'll basically just go ahead and conduct or prepare a lesson for maybe unit number 1. And then we will have a trial lesson based on unit number 1, and then we'll schedule a subsequent or 2 subsequent trial lessons with our China team. Okay, and we hope that those lessons can be done by next week. So you'll be done with training this today. So basically, notwithstanding tomorrow's 1-hour video training for the 2 software components. So. And this just talks about trial tips for our lesson tips, which is all you're doing is really just a 30-minute or 25-minute lesson that you would normally conduct for a student.
Is there any chance that we could do the 3 lessons sequentially, or not necessarily back to back, but maybe the same day, or is that too too much to ask with too many staff members in different areas?
You know, it's a really good question. I think with me, you can conduct one, like, let's say Monday, and then Monday during the day or something like that. And then later in the evening, you could conduct two with potentially, depending on the China team's time, you can conduct them two with, or that can be on Tuesday too. So let's say Tuesday is the day, right? And then it would be Wednesday morning for them. So that's very possible. It all depends on their time. I know that at least Henry is the one person I mentioned. He's one who would usually be on doing the trial lessons. And Nikki, whom I mentioned yesterday, she is the lesson assistant, or her title is foreign teacher consultant, but she basically consults with students, and she is one who's inside the class assisting the student with translation and all of that. So she would be one looking at the trial lessons as well. And she normally comes in a little later in the day because she stays later because she has to stay for some of these classes that can last till around 9 o'clock at night in China. So all that to say is certainly you are welcome to do it same day, depending on their schedules. I think the earliest that Nikki does it usually is 10:30, which is 10:30 at night for you guys. You're all East Coast. So, yeah, so it's just a matter of figuring that out. And that's fine. You know, if you're ready to do it, by all means, let's just get it done.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, I say. Good. We can talk about that next week for sure, or we can even as early as tomorrow. You know, we can talk about it when you're ready to get that taken care of. And after completion of trial lessons, we'll contact you. Usually we don't have additional training, so we don't have to worry about that. But usually it's just signing a little completion of training. We'll give you a survey on SurveyMonkey. You do have access on the Google Drive. I'll show you where that information is. Right here where it says direct deposit information. So you do have access to that on the Google Drive. So I will show you where that information is. If you log in and you go into admin docs here, you'll have your direct deposit information and then the independent contractor form. Okay. So you can fill that out as early, you can do that today if you want and send that over to me. That's fine, as long, because I want to get that information over to our accountant so she has it on file.
Do we have access to that shared doc? You do. In your welcome letter, there is a shared link for the Google Drive. You have problems opening it, please let me. I sent it in a Microsoft Word document because I think the PDF was problematic for some people. So, and you'll also have access. So you have access to this whole thing called CAEC Docs and training materials, Pearson articles that I posted. So actually, the assessment where we get our assessments are in here, and I'll show you guys that in a bit. And then some articles which I think are fun and informative about TPR, classroom management, other ways to teach ESL. And our lesson plans are in here too. So, but as far as admin is concerned, blank schedule. So it's in each of the EST, so EST is down here. And if you were to, all you got to do is just mark your availability. So you'll see very, very simple, self-explanatory. So Monday through Friday, these are the times that most students are available. Monday through Friday. And then, so mark your availability for when you can be available on Friday evenings, which are Saturday mornings, all the way up to Saturday mornings for you. And
So just for clarity, so we will mark when we're available, and then you put out to the Chinese students that these are the times they can choose? That's the procedure?
Very good question. Actually, when you mark your availability, okay, then I'm able to match you with the students. So I'm given a lesson of or a schedule of students. Let's say I'm given 20 students or something for next week with their various lessons. Based on your availability, and all teachers' availability, I match those students. I also match students based on levels that I think would be suitable for the teachers. And that's also based on your experience, as well as your trial lessons, your preferences. Like some people only prefer to teach, kindergarten students. Some are open to teaching whatever, so yeah, so there's some variables there, but usually it's just based on teacher scheduling. Some teachers can't teach on weekends. You know what I mean? And some students need to have lessons on the weekends. So then I'll match that student with a teacher who can teach on weekends. Yeah, so definitely a good question. We are working on a system where students will be able to book directly with the teachers or on our website. So we are working on that already, but it's not quite there. So, but that's all that to say is our TeachWorks calendar is very valuable, because what I'm able to get those lessons, I put it directly onto our TeachWorks calendar, and then you're able to see your lessons at least 2 to 3 days in advance of the next week. So you'll see your whole lesson or your whole schedule. But this is just for my purposes, just so I can, so I know your monthly availability, because it's just for the month, Yeah. So, also on our TeachWorks calendar, you can mark your availability on that too. So if you told me I don't really want to use that document, can I use the TeachWorks document? That would be fine too. That way I see your availability, just digital, automatic, and if it's the same all the time, you'll never have to change it, then, that's fine. So, and that's something that I'll be able to show you guys in the pre-recorded video. You'll be able to see that information and how that works, okay? All right, so that kind of was a little bit of some information about that. What did I do with mine? So going back to the training here. Okay. All right. So just mention that usually upon your first assignment, so around your first assignment, or just basically between now and your first assignment, you'll just provide your schedule. So you can do that now that you have access to that account, so you can do that anytime on that Microsoft Word schedule. Usually teachers will submit their schedule in advance. So right now you guys could be submitting your schedule for the middle of August or end of August, to September. So if you know your schedule further in advance, then you can, between September and November, this is my schedule. Just mark the days that you can't do it. So there's that little section on the bottom that I'm not available on these days. And you can also input that information, your non-availability, in your TeachWorks account once you get that. Okay. So again, to answer your question, here it is. Teachers are usually assigned levels based on expertise and ability. So usually, and then upon a first assignment thereafter, teachers assess the students, and we'll talk about what 4 All rubrics is, using the Big English Global Scale of English rubric based on Pearson's granular scale of English proficiency for second language learners. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about this today. Okay, so you can see what I mean by that. Okay. again, to talk about the schedule and notifications. Just like I said yesterday, teachers are notified 1 to 3 days of their respective assignments. I, again, am really emphasizing that teachers are notified at least 3 days, or between those days, 2 days. If it's 24 hours, it's only because there was a class or a couple classes added. So, but I will tell you, if I get your schedule tomorrow, I will tell you in WeChat, I'll give you like, hey, this is your schedule for next week. Is that, are these okay? I will, even if I know your schedule, I know you're available, I make sure I give you that notice. I have these students, this is the time, I'm going to put it on your TeachWorks calendar. And if you're like, oh, sorry, I'm at a wedding on Thursday, so I can't do that, then, that's fine. That way we can find another teacher immediately, okay? So, and the reason why we want to make sure everything's in advance and have advance notice is so that you are prepared to review all the course material and the lessons at least 12 hours in advance, It was at first 6, but I think that's cutting it a little close, so I made it 12 hours, so you have some time to prepare. Okay. I do apologize for here. This is an incomplete sentence. So lesson plans. Yes, I get marked off here. Where's your red markers, right? Marked out for incomplete sentence. So you would submit your prospective lesson plans to both Henry and me, and then as well as Nikki. And the reason for that is because she and Henry are the 2 Chinese colleagues who will be able to review the lessons in advance, okay, of your actual lesson. So they do give that information.
And again, just to clarify,
sure,
we can use the lesson plans that are created. These are optionals, the prospective lesson plans. We don't have to create our own, because if we want to use foundational ones, we can use the foundational.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and absolutely, you can use the foundational ones. You can modify those a bit depending on your experience if you want to. But the idea too, which is to make sure that our team knows this is the lesson you're doing, this is how you're progressing with the student. And I will kind of give you some insider information too. We are really looking. A big part of what we want to do is we really want to strategize the education of the student. We don't want to just give them lessons and then they go on their merry way. We want to actually, produce great, intelligent students who are learning from our program. So we're actually going to try to, in the future, implement like an individual student plan, so based on some of these lessons, using the rubric, kind of all-inclusive type things. So, so the students will come out of this type of program and be very, feel fulfilled, yeah. So, and it's fun, engaging, but they're also learning. All right. As far as cancellations are concerned, we do try to make sure that the teachers are notified at least 24 hours in advance of cancellations. If there's the off chance that teachers are not notified, and let's say they're waiting in the class and they were not notified of a cancellation, the teacher will actually not, if let's say the student doesn't show up, it's a missed class, then that student gets billed basically, and you actually get to pay, you get paid for the class. So if you cancel the lessons and you don't attempt to reschedule, then obviously you don't get paid. Try not to be late to classes unless it's an extreme emergency. If a student is, again, 15 minutes late to a class, you may cancel a class and you'll receive half payment for that class period if the student is late, okay? But if the student misses the class altogether, then you receive full payment. And that stuff can be emphasized later on if you have questions about lesson cancellations or anything like that.
So as far as scheduling is concerned, as we talked about earlier, make sure you do check your calendar called TeachWorks daily. You could check it weekly, and you actually get notifications from TeachWorks. You'll get email notifications. So please check those and then notify us if there's any problems with the lesson or cancel the lesson. Another incomplete sentence. So I'm not sure what I meant there, but obviously it was not that important. Okay. Okay, so another important thing is what we talked about yesterday. I think I showed you guys how to record the lesson, or at least how to store a lesson, like where it's located. So you will, before each lesson, make sure that you press the record button. And then this item here, you can send the recorded lessons to Henry and I, but you can also just attach it to your For All Rubrics assessment. And in tomorrow's training, the pre-recorded training, I will make sure I show you guys how you can do that. It's very simple, and it's stored all in one place. You don't have to worry about trying to send emails back and forth. Maybe things get lost or something like that. It's just all there. But you will, of course, log the student's progress and performance using that rubric, which is located in For All Rubrics. Advance the students to specific levels based on their performance. This is just if you want to go above and beyond and prepare progress reports, it's not that necessary though, because the rubric is all there. But For All Rubrics does have that capability to present weekly reports. So it has those analytical capabilities if you want to do that, but it's not necessary for you to initially do that. So just to give you an idea, the rubric preparation and lesson plan preparation, it doesn't take, because you already have the pre-designed lesson plans. And if you have an idea of how the student is progressing throughout the lesson, preparing this rubric is very, very simple. And I will show you an example of what the rubric looks like. It's just a matter of clicking a few boxes and making some comments. So, all right. Now, there is going to be times when you're inside the lesson and a parent is there in the lesson. So you don't have to worry about communicating with them. Most of the time, they don't really speak English, so they will communicate with our CAEC staff, primarily in China. So you'll be okay with that. Okay, but if you do have questions, or if there's a time when there isn't a translator there for some reason, and they're communicating with you, not sure what's going on, just notify us in advance, or as soon as you can. Okay. All right. And that just kind of takes me a little bit to the time slots, which I showed you already in the actual lesson itself, or in the schedule itself. So you see here there's about 92 time slots. Now this is not, it seems like a lot, but this is what the potential of a time slot looks like on a daily basis. Okay, so you got about 8 per day, okay, on Monday through Friday. And then you have 26 on China Saturday and China Sunday.
Well, what percent are weekday bookings and weekend bookings currently? What percentage are people booking?
Ooh, I would say about 90% of weekday and about 10% weekend. And very minimal, and it could even be 5.95. So very minimal of weekend bookings. Sundays are a lot less popular. Saturday morning, so right here for China Saturday mornings, these are the most popular booking times. I would say between 9 to 12 noon.
And that's for Eastern time. That's 9 to midnight, Friday night.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so you might probably have surmised that a lot of people want to work on a Friday night.
So, so if you're available Friday night, wonderful. But this is like what some people do ask for these times. And if you're available, great. For Eastern Standard Time, I would say on any of these given days, Monday through Friday, I see a lot more 6 to 9 p.m. than I do 9:30 to 10 p.m. So we do have a lot more times in between these times here. Oops, sorry. On Monday through Friday. So it's rare when the student is going from 9:30 to 10. Now, we do sometimes have adult students. So adult students who are in age range of 18 to 25 or something like that, or even sometimes older. And they learn from Big English too, depends on their needs. So they might have later times since they've been working, or they might request some weekend times too. So adult students are more rare, but they certainly are part of our client base. So, and then this just shows the teaching ranges for you guys. So Eastern Standard Time, we've already talked about that, but 9 to 10 a.m. Sorry, 6 to 10 a.m. each day, and then Fridays 9 to 10 a.m. to Saturday, and then Sundays 9 p.m. Saturday night to 10 a.m. Sunday night.
How does CAEC market in China?
It's a really good question. They have their own team out there, and they have their own marketing. Actually, their own marketing team out there. They have their we have partners with schools, so different schools, because we not only do online, we also do immersion programs. So a lot of our partners that the students who come here for like maybe a 2-week program or something like that, we partner with them for the online teaching. So they get, not only do they get extra practice when they're already here in the States, then they come back and then they get to learn from a teacher from America, so it excites them even more. A lot also we do teach abroad. So you might have noticed, I think Dave, you were one who applied for an online teaching, but you got called from one of our recruiters for Teach Abroad. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
And yeah. So we do have a range of teachers already in China for Teach Abroad, and so we actually deal directly with the schools, and so we hire our teachers here, and then we work directly with the schools, and then the teachers there who are teaching in China for about a year or more also have the opportunity to teach those same students or similar students online. So those schools that we work with, which I think we have about 20 different partners, 20 to 30 different partner schools, they actually encourage their students to learn online from our American teachers. So we have a variety of ways that we reach the students. It's usually through our channels that are already been established, and then new channels through partner schools. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that's just basically about the scheduling. So I was going to go back to our Big English here, and that's, this is actually I think that's the end of the training manual there. Do you guys have any questions about this training manual? Did you want to cover something else in the training manual before we move forward into the rest of our time? Okay.
No.
Great. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to just go back here. So I'm going to show you guys, we're going to go back into Big English, and I was going to show you guys this little toolbar here. I think yesterday was where we left off. And we were navigating, I think we navigated a little bit of these, clicking on these to make sure it goes into active teach. Navigating the pane down here. And so I think yesterday, I don't remember, Janice, if you recall, we were looking at these different icons, And so if you are unsure what those icons are, we do have a little help. Click here for help, and then it gives you the online version of the icons. So you're able to see that information, what it means. Here are the icons here. That's the toolbar, and then those functions of the toolbar, and then the icons here. So we were looking at this little icon, which is the gameplay button. And as I was going through some of the other units yesterday, I was looking for the gameplay button to create a lesson. And again, just like we had talked about, the gameplay button, which is right here. Turn that on, and that's like tic-tac-toe. It's not tic-tac-toe for every single unit. It could be something different for every unit. So for instance, I was looking at unit 4 yesterday, and it should always be like pretty much the first couple pages. So this unit, the game is, because it's about clothes, it is multiple choice. So they just got to choose the blouse and the shirt. You know what a blouse and a shirt is, right? And then submit the answers, and then the correct answers are located here. You press reset, and it goes around like 4 different times. Boots and shirt. Okay, so if you click the wrong thing, hats and pants. So let's say I click that instead. Oops, I messed up. Sorry. Hats and pants. It will give you an X, and then it will tell you the right answer. So, yeah, it's another fun multiple choice game. So yeah, that was kind of what we went over yesterday after you had left. But what we didn't talk about was this toolbar down here. Now, the reason why I didn't really show you guys yesterday, and I really wanted to try to emphasize the annotation tools of Jumu, is because Jumu is the primary tools that students will use for annotation. I'm going to show you again the good and the bad features of this toolbar. First, I'm going to show you the good features. So, you as a teacher are you guys could use any of these features. The only feature that you shouldn't use is the pen feature, and I'll show you that in a minute. But here are some of the cool features of Big English Toolbar. So anytime you're teaching and you want to just add something, maybe you want to add a text or something like that, or maybe have your own little lesson, you can use the whiteboard here. Okay, and I'll show you how effective this is, because you can use the whiteboard after every single page that you have. So, and if you want to draw, or if you want to type something, you can use the text box down here, increase the font. Oops. I don't know why it's not increasing. And then you usually just have to X out of it. That's a bad color. Sorry about that. If you want to change anything, you want to change anything, you can always change it, but as long as you X out, it goes right into.
And I didn't see which button you clicked for the whiteboard.
Yeah, so there's this little pen and paper button.
Right down there.
That's
Down
the
there.
whiteboard
Okay.
button.
Yeah.
So so if you wanted to have them write something, or you already have something readily available to use for the whiteboard. So let's say we are under listen, point, and say, and that's what this is the lesson. You can start a new whiteboard, and again, as you can see here, the lesson plan didn't come back up. That's because I'm on a different page. However, if I'm just to go back to the ebook, and I want to use the whiteboard, my information will appear there. So wherever you're using the whiteboard, whichever part of the ebook or part of the active teach, that's where the whiteboard information will appear. It's a new whiteboard every single time. So let's say you have a whiteboard lesson prepared for this part. Okay, you can create something new, whatever you.
And so if you were to switch between like another time, or you have another student the next time and you reopen it up and you go back to the same unit, will you be able to find your whiteboard notes from a previous lesson? That will be there on that page?
Yes, only if you don't close this unit. So if you close the unit, it won't save it. But if you keep the unit open, it will stay. So and then anytime you need to toggle between whiteboard and the actual lesson, then you could just do that. You could just click. You could also, if you need to change pages, you don't even want to go back to the same page, you can just go right to the next page. So this is previous page, and then you choose your whiteboard. And let's say you're done with it, then you can just go right back, or you can go to the next page, and then you'll have a new whiteboard if you want to. You don't have to use a whiteboard every single time. Whiteboard is, sometimes it's effective for drawing, like I said, for adding to the lesson. You could draw directly on this too. You're welcome to do that, to draw directly on here and write something like that. The good part about using these tools is because you can change the pages and you don't have to erase like you do with the here. So if you're to draw, right? Or right now I'm using Jumu and I'm drawing, but I used big English tools to type. Okay. You see how it stays? So you have to make sure that you do clear all the drawing.
Right, because it's an overlay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's an overlay, right. So, however, here is my warning to you all. If you're going to use this tool, this toolbar, it is extremely important that you only use it and you don't allow the students to use it. Because the reason why that is because of the sharing feature on Jumu. The sharing feature on Jumu, when you're sharing the screen, it creates a large delay. You'll notice that whenever we're singing a song, maybe I'm singing a few words ahead of you or something like that. And that's the singing part, all that is fine. But anytime you allow the student to use these tools, like if you want them to write something or something like that, it will be ineffective for that reason. So if you're going to have them write something, you can just have them use the text box in Jumu to write something. And then it will appear there. The only thing you'll have to remember to do is just to clear your drawing and clear their drawing, something like that. Okay. So the China team doesn't really like it when people use this toolbar as, for students, because it's such a large, it's just a really hard delay, it's a large delay. So that's the only downside of that. And I'm actually going to let you guys see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to let each of you try to control my screen and let you use this little pen. But back to some of the good features, okay? So you can also, by the way, if you wanted to use this and, sorry, okay. If you wanted to use this and you didn't want it anymore, you can, I think you can just throw it, well, actually, no, you just have to clear it. I just have to clear it if I don't want to show it anymore. Okay. I don't really use the typewriter here, so I don't, if you wanted to, I guess, type directly on there, you can do that too. So that's also something unique. instead of having to go directly into the text box. So that's something you can do. This tool here, this is kind of cool. Some people use this for sticky notes. So if you want to use this page for, lesson on page 15, 16. If you wanted a sticky note for every part of your lesson for whatever reason, let's say you had 10 people you had to teach that day, that's, very ambitious number. But, if you wanted to use that, you could just say, have your own sticky note. Some people use, some teachers use this for students to write on. I wouldn't recommend that, but this sticky note feature is kind of neat. And if you don't like your sticky note and you want to throw it away, you can just throw it right here in the trash and it will go away. Sometimes teachers like to use outside sources, like maybe a video, like a short video or a link to another website, just brief, as long as, or even just a picture. Let's say you want to show a picture of your family and you have it online or something like that. This is a link box, so you can, okay, and then you can have this link. So you can have, basically, you can have a whole lesson plan on 2 different pages and have certain links, certain files open, and then it goes directly to, so well, you're not having to, it goes directly to the site. You don't have to navigate your website, like, oh, what was that website again? You can just put it right on there on the page. And if you don't
imagine most of these 25-minute lessons, you won't get to the level where you're bringing in a lot of outside stuff. I mean, it looked like you had a tremendous amount of resources per lesson already.
No, but again, these are just something that, these tools are available to you if you want to use them. So another thing is just the file. You can have this, you can have them, if you want, and this could be for you too, you're going through a lesson and you needed some, some outside source that you wanted to refer to or something like that. The other day I forgot, actually, because I was teaching a multi-unit class, and I forgot about this feature, this link feature, because it took me to, I had all of my websites that I needed right here, and that was just so inefficient for me. I could have just had it right there. So things that I forget. But anyway, this is good because it gives you, you can go ahead and you can put the file that you need from your computer. And yeah, you might not be able to use it. Let's say you have pictures that you have stored, and maybe there's a unit about family. You want to show a picture of your family. Maybe you don't have it right directly behind you, but you wanted to show an online picture or something like that. You wanted to share it. You can just do it right from here. So there's those opportunities available to you. Okay. All right. So this is a tool that is the writing tool. Okay, so it's very similar to it's very similar to the Jumu tool. Okay, you can change the color if you want. So you can see that, it's really easy for me to use, right? And it is easy for me to use. So you can certainly use it if you wanted to, but if you ask the student to do it, and even sometimes, depending on like I have 5G, and I don't know about everybody else's, but even if maybe your actual internet connectivity might be a little bit slower, if that's the case, then I would highly recommend you not using this tool. It is available though. Let's say you forget to use the Jumu tool, the annotate tool, and you would rather use this one. But I will tell you though, if you want to have the student use it, it's highly recommend that you don't. And I'll show you. You can erase it like this. This is the eraser if you want to really go really slow. But you can also use this clear button. It clears it all. This is like a little spray bottle button. Okay. And then there's a highlighter. Use the spray bottle button to clear it all. Okay. All right. So let's play a little. little fun game. Nadine, you're first, and I'm going to give you remote control access, and I'm going to let you navigate the little pen here, okay, on
Okay.
English. Nadine, Janice, and Dave. All right, go ahead. Boy, isn't that fun?
It's hard
So,
to click.
yeah, it's not easy, is it? Now, after you try to write something, like maybe your name, or at least the first part of your name is, oh, that's a happy face. Yeah, so it is, yes. It is really hard to control.
Oh, you got to work on your cursive.
Okay, so try to go ahead and click the little spray bottle and see if you can try to erase it all.
This must be what you mean by lag.
Yeah, lots of lag, yeah. So yeah, so again, not ideal for the students to use. So it's just, they do get taught, just so you know, they get taught on using the annotation tool for Jumu. So if you have an area where they're writing or something like that, I'll show you guys that in a minute. There are some features here, or there are some areas here that they can write, like fill in the blank or something like that. So there you go. So to get back to it, okay, you got it. All right, good. So to get, as I say, just get back to it, just got to click on that little mouse, back on that mouse. Okay. All right, so Janice, your turn. Very exciting. Hold on a minute. Let me get you situated here, get you remote control access. Go ahead, Janice.
Okay, I'm using my pointer, so maybe I need to use a mouse. Would
Yeah,
it be better if
so,
I had a mouse?
oh, okay. So if you had a mouse, well, yeah, just click on that. Go ahead. That was enough.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. So let's see if you can draw.
Oh, it's a cloud. Yes.
Yeah, is that a circle or is that a dog?
I was hoping it would be a cloud.
My car after I gave my teenager driving lessons.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, it is a.
Okay. All right, now let's. Oh,
If you
now
want,
it's
yeah.
caught. It caught up with me. I was moving it, but it was taking its time.
Yes, yes, yes. So did
Catching
you
up.
notice that too, Nadine, where you were drawing and then it was lagging? So like I can see you drawing and I think everybody else can see you drawing, but it's, so yeah, that's a big issue with this feature is that it lags.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So if you try to click on the spray bottle, I think the other problem with it is that the lag is so bad that even trying to go back and using something else, it just takes a long time. So.
Okay, so maybe I picked up the wrong thing. Is that the erase right there? Or is,
Yeah,
okay.
you press that one, or you can press the little orange one below the highlighter. So right here, you can press that. if you can. Try with all your might.
Is that eraser?
Yeah, that's eraser, and that erases it. That's like good for erasing maybe some, you can erase the whole thing that way, or you can also just use the spray bottle to erase the whole thing automatically.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, spray bottle. Let me try that.
I think if you wanted to go back, you can actually go back to the eraser function itself. There you go. And then spray bottle. There you go.
Okay.
All right. All right, Dave, it's your turn.
All right.
See if you can fare better. I mean, maybe you'd be the one to break the mold here. I don't know.
I doubt it.
All right.
Ooh, yeah, that is tough with that lag. Okay, so that backed up and undid the writing, but it doesn't undo the text.
No, but
box.
you can go ahead and click, or you could just erase the text here. If you click on that, then it will just, the text will remain. But it doesn't erase it, yeah.
Can't erase using this either.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. You'd actually have to go back into the text box and just delete that text. Just create. Yeah, you can actually, yeah, there you go. You can just highlight or backspace, there you go. And then click the little X, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, so it's quite a chore.
What does this one do again?
That one, actually, well, we can check it out. I don't really use that one, so I know that it has in the past. It's erased. I can probably look at our little icon button there. Post it.
Tried to do a dash, but it was too much trouble.
Okay. Oh, did you guys? Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay, so what? Go back here. Doesn't really do anything, actually. Go back to our help. So if you're interested in learning what that button does, eraser tool, clear screen tool, and undo tool. So here we go. Adjusts the size of the pen, highlight, and eraser tools. That's what that does. So if you wanted to make it
bigger.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Okay. Interesting. Not seeing how you can make it bigger though. That's okay. All right. Well, it's supposed to adjust the tool sizes, but all right. So, all right, moving along here. I'm going to go ahead and take you to one of the, just a page where you can fill in the blanks or something like that. Okay, well, before that, we'll actually take you to a page where if you're going to do matching or something. So, so now we can, but because you don't have to give remote control access to the student, you can just ask the student, okay, match the, so here's based on this story here. We're gonna read the story and then we'll play this game, okay?
Listen to the story, My Favorite Hat.
What are you wearing? I'm wearing a green hat. It's my favorite hat. What's she wearing? She's wearing an orange hat. It's her favorite hat. What's she wearing? She's wearing a purple hat. It's her favorite hat. What are you wearing, Tommy? I'm wearing a funny hat. It's my favorite hat.
All right. Oops. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use the Jumu tools. So Nadine, you're number 1. Janice, number 2. Dave, number 3, and I'll be number 4. We remember. Who is, so I would, now I'm going to recommend, I'm going to actually use a tool that I think might be effective. Now you guys use your own drawing tools and see what might work. There you go.
Probably going to use this one. Oh. Can I write?
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, everybody can write at the same time. Everybody can do it right at the same time. Or try to.
Oh, mine's not. It's not letting me write.
Oh, it's not?
Mm-mm.
Hold on a
Are
minute.
you using the annotate drop down?
So when you go to annotate, you click on the draw. Are you able to click on, I stopped? No one has remote control access, so that shouldn't be the issue.
I was able to draw the line.
Are you having issues too, Janice, or is it, or you're not sure?
I'm gonna try it now. Give me 1 minute. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So is this number 3? Is she wearing 2 hats?
I'm just practicing with my arrows.
Oh, you're practicing. Okay. All right. Yeah. So so the students can use, like, if you were to, obviously, if you were to give a demonstration, you can show them how to complete the look and match. So they are, oh, there you go. You use your little arrow too.
Yeah, so those are the matching tools, or those are the drawing tools that you can use. We already kind of did that yesterday as well. And then let's see. The downside of this is that you have to always click back to the mouse in order to go back to navigating. All right, let's see. I think there's another page I wanted to show you. All right, so we'll go ahead and listen to this one.
Look and listen. Right.
The Royal Ascot horse race takes place in England. Some women wear funny hats to the race. The hats are big and colorful.
1,
Her hat has flowers on it.
2,
Her hat has birds on it.
3,
Her hat has horses on it.
Right. So you guys could each use the Jumu text box and write the answers. Sorry, Janice. So we're going to go ahead and use the Jumu text box to write the answer. So Dave, you'll go be number 1, and Nadine.
Oh.
Yeah, darn it. Nadine, you're number 3. Or wait, who did number 3?
David
Whoever.
did.
David, you're number 3. Nadine, you can be number 2. Janice, you can be number 1. There you go. All right, so very simple text box tools. And so if you're going to, there you go, if you're going to go ahead and give an example, the text box is very useful, and it's a lot better than using the Jumu text box. Because if you use, the Big English. So if you use the Big English text box for yourself, then you got this whole thing going on, and you have to, line it up, and it's all kind of like, it's not very efficient for the fill in the blank if you're going to use it. But for students and you to kind of use all together, then you can be more kind of streamline everything. And then you just make sure you clear all drawing there. Okay. All right. All right. So again, just wanted to show you the differences between using Jumu. I feel like the only issue with using Jumu is that you have to remember to clear your drawing. Otherwise, it's just going to appear on the next page. But they're both good and great features to both. So, you guys have any questions?
Nope. Thank you.
All right.
Nope.
All right. Is there anything that you wanted to see on the Big English, or do you want to just get the Big English levels and then navigate on your own? What do you guys think?
I did have a question.
Yes, please.
When you want us to set up a time to do the sample lesson, is there certain things a part of the lesson that you want us to include? Is it a guideline, or do you normally set the lesson based on the need of the students?
For the sample lesson, I actually don't have a preference. However, because this is something that's new to you and new to you teachers, normally what students or what teachers have done in the past is they just use the sample lesson plan that we have in our Google Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can base it on that. One question teachers ask all the time, like, okay, well, who am I actually teaching to? So if, let's say you had level 1, I usually pretend that I'm a seven-year-old, so you can teach a 7-year-old for your first lesson, and that's always fun. The China team, they actually look at the lesson plans a little more practical, as how they monitor a teacher if they were in the class as you were teaching a student. So you can still
teach the lesson as if you're teaching a 7, 9, 10-year-old, okay? They probably won't react like that, though. So, but still, you know, they just have a different culture, and it's totally fine.
So will they be participating as if a student? I mean, ideally.
Yes, they will. If you give them instructions, they will do the instructions. So if you tell them, okay, Nikki, I want you to, I want you to complete the sentence, and you give them the instructions to complete the sentence. Make sure you use your Zumu tools, and then you give them an example. So right now I'm going to write on my Zumu tool, I'm going to write answer number 1, and I want you to finish answer number 2 and answer number 3, So if you give them those instructions, and if you speak still as if you're speaking to a 7, 8-year-old who is a second language learner, third language learner, slowly and assuredly that they are, so they can understand, then of course that will kind of provide them with a good kind of gauge, a good understanding of your teaching capabilities. So with that to say, I'm going to go back to it's in the Google Drive, but I wanted to go back in the Google Drive just to show you, Janice, and the rest of the crew here, that portion of the lesson. So let me go back. Sorry, the lesson plans for the samples. You guys can see what I'm talking about here.
And I'm sorry, I may have missed it. Will we be doing the same lesson for all 3 pilots?
It's a really good question. You don't have to. If you want to do 3 different lessons, you're fine. I'm fine with you doing the same lessons, but the China team, sometimes they'll ask, let's say you're doing 2 lessons with the China team, they might ask for a different lesson each time. So I don't tell them which lesson that you do for me. So if you want to do 2 of the same lessons and a different lesson for one of the other ones, that's okay too. So it's not.
So when you do for the China team, it's the same team, 2 lessons for in front of the same audience, not 2 different teams, 2 different audiences in China.
2 different people in China. So you actually at different intervals, you will be teaching a lesson to, let's say, Henry at 9:30 at night, and then if possible, Nikki at 10:30 at night. So 2 different people.
Okay.
Intervals, right. So let me go back here to the training manual. Oh, I forgot to clear. So now it's still there. Okay. All right. All right, so kind of into the lesson plans. I have some, actually, here's some, okay. So back to the lesson plans here. So Big English 1, this one is the lesson plan coordinator had created all of these lessons. So when you actually get into teaching Big English 1 to students, then you can utilize these lesson plans. For sample lesson plans, you can see here. So for instance.
Oh, we can't see your screen.
Oh. Yeah, we just seeing the funny hats angling.
Sorry, guys. All right. See, thank you so much. I should ask whether you can see my screen or not. And okay, so back into our document, admin docs, or sorry, CAC docs here. I would just access this one here, which has sample plans. So you can use any of these sample lesson plans. So this is the My Body lesson plan. I've had several teachers have used this one for the trial lesson or for the pilot lesson. And it's a total of 25 minutes. As you can see, there's the song itself. There's an exercise 2 and 3. So I can show you, we'll go into, okay. It's really slow right now, so I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, go back to, all right. So you have your song, which we listened to yesterday, and then exercises 2 and 3. listen, point, and say. And sentence structure for listen, point, and say for the vocabulary. Go back to okay. I mean, she recommends 8 minutes just for the song, and then for exercises 2 and 3. You know, depending on your time with the students or how they are moving through the lesson, that can be, you know, a little bit more, or even a little less. So again, I really admire these lesson plans, but sometimes they can be a little ambitious. But listen and read the conversation, which here is exercise 4. So this just refers, so anytime, so this is a dialogue, so anytime you want to have a dialogue, this is where I would use the whiteboard. So you can actually have the dialogue, or you can just simply write the words right here. How many ears does he have? He has 2 ears. How many eyes does he have? He has 2 eyes. So you guys are going back and forth with dialogue. Go back. All right. In my opinion, I mean, this is just me. I normally don't do the conversation. I actually like to do the conversation when there's more than one student, so they can converse together, but that's entirely up to you to keep that. But I do like the funny story, so they listen to the funny story, which is the next. Actually, I think the next is is tic-tac-toe. So you can add that in if you wanted to. If you wanted to add tic-tac-toe. But the story here about the lost dog, and then always there is questions, or there's some sort of activity about the story. And it looks like she stops here, and she wants you to do the documentary, listen to the video, which is about body parts, and then flashcards for a review. Drawing the favorite pet. That's always a fun and imaginative way for them to describe or use their critical thinking skills to draw their favorite pet, which you don't have to use the whiteboard because we have I think the tool for drawing their favorite pet is right here. So, let's see. Sometimes what I do when I am creating this kind of lesson, or if I want to modify the lesson, so again, you can use the particular order, which I love, but if I want to ask them to critically, what did I do? Okay. Close. Oh, go away. Oh no. Oh no, I don't know, I accidentally clicked something. Oh, it's not going away. Well, I'm just gonna have to X out of this, okay, and go back into it. So what I was trying to say is that you can, if you wanted to, skip to another part of the unit if you feel like it's more effective, if there's another page that's effective or that is complementary to your current lesson, you can always do that as long as you have it in the lesson plans. But again, she's only covering the first couple pages. You're only covering a couple exercises. And there is subsequent lesson plans that cover that same information later on if you have the same student for a couple times. So, but.
Manya, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I noticed there on, I guess that's stage 6, it says use flashcards to review and access the new learning method. So the flashcards, I guess, is available as a part of this lesson, correct?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and check out the flashcards, okay? So after I think it's after the pet, the drawing of the pet, on the boy's dog, and then listen to the funny story, listen to the documentary, and then use the flashcards. So the flashcards are here under picture cards.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can actually, you'd have to change the unit. So you'd have to go to unit 3. And then here are your flashcards. So you can use the flashcards, you can in any way, any different way. You can, if you don't want them to see the flash, you can just click on show all, and then you can, you know, it should, oh my goodness, it's not doing it. Okay, a little bit of an issue here. You can, or if you just want to switch the slides, and then they don't have to view the actual. Okay. All right. For some reason, it is. So, and then you can.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So there are. So she recommends here 3 minutes on that. That can be 3 to 5 minutes, depending on your on the student's proficiency. Okay. And then just something fun at the end. So again, just kind of going by the PowerPoint that suggests having an icebreaker in the beginning, teaching about 2 to 3 pages of, you know, the meat of it, then reviewing. So this vocabulary review are the flashcards. Reviewing the principal parts of the lesson, and then if time permits, drawing the pet. So that's more of like a fun activity, ending in a, you know, kind of in a nice, entertaining note, but also drawing information from them, getting them to talk, speak about their favorite pets if they have one, something like that, or imaginary friend or something. You know. So one of the things that we're again trying to really employ here too is because there are certain parts of Big English called Think Big, and the Think Big portions allow them to use their thinking caps, you know, bringing like critical thinking as well as leadership skills into the lesson. So there are various points to our program as well. So so it's not just all you know, flowers and and happy faces, although that's fine too. But just to kind of give them an idea of like, you know, giving them responsibility sort of type of ideas too, so they can, you know, be good, you know, global citizens, you know, type thing. So that's you'll kind of see that interspersed in the lessons. We're going to start adding the Think Big portions into our lesson as well. Okay. All right. So kind of going into, since we've already talked a little bit about that lesson, the body lesson, I'm going to see if this YouTube video can play. And this is one of our other teachers here.
You know, speaking of YouTube, I tried to click on the link you sent us in the email, but it is, it's not, I don't think it's fully loaded yet.
Oh, it said it was loaded. Okay. Well,
maybe it's my end, but.
Okay. Okay, I'll double check on that and make sure that it's all that's all square. But it showed on my end that it was done. So if that's not the case, then I am so sorry. I will make sure that it gets loaded properly. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. Hopefully this works. So you're going to get an idea here of who is involved. You'll see Nikki. You'll see a teacher, obviously, and then a student. Okay. And just to bear in mind, I think he started this recording after the song that he played, so he might have started a little bit late, so you might not see that just yet.
So, mhm. He's so cute. Okay, so I just wanted to also tell you that this little boy Hoover is only a kindergarten. Okay, so
Wow.
yeah, so he's very smart for kindergarten. So sometimes you'll see various levels. Some students absolutely no knowledge or no well, they have very low level of proficiency in English, and then you'll have Hoover who have a higher proficiency. So when Peter first assessed Hoover, he assessed him at big English level 1, but since we're at the third unit, this is like one of his third lessons. So he actually taught him starting at level number 2. Okay, so he thought he could surpass unit 1, and then go to unit 2. And Hoover did so well in unit 2 that he moved him to unit 3. So, so you could kind of tell, because each unit, obviously, it's progressively a little more difficult, especially in sentence structure and grammar. So you'll see that. But you as the teacher will be able to gauge those things as you teach, as you kind of move along with the particular student. So let's see. I think I will skip a little ahead here. He's so cute. He's adorable. Mm. So that's a pretty, so that's a neat feature that you can use for the actual, that's the, I didn't show you that tool, but that's the blockout tool, essentially. So you can use that tool as long as they're not using that tool. I think Big English actually, or the annotation tool has that too. So for instance, well, that's not it. It's this one, sorry. So if you wanted to do that, you can do that too. And it actually works a lot faster than, and if you just clear it, clear all. So, and don't worry, our teacher Peter actually went through the same training you did, but sometimes they just, you know, when they're doing their own lesson plan, they kind of do their own thing, and maybe he thought that that was a more efficient way, but. All right. Oh, and he uses the pen.
Mm.
So cute. Uh-oh.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What could he do here, ladies and gents?
He could use the arrow key.
True, he can use the arrow key
I
on the
have a
Zoom.
question. While he's teaching, is he also like in the video using TPR going hands? Is he do so he's teaching and simultaneously saying hand and foot?
He should be.
Or no? Oh, he should
well,
be.
he was.
Okay.
He was using it earlier here.
Well, I can't see him teaching the lesson.
Oh, you can't see him up here? Sure.
Oh, you guys are covering him. So I didn't see him. Okay, there we go. I moved you guys, so I see him now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, he's there. So let me kind of go back in the beginning here, and we can. Let me go back and.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. He's actually interactive. And then you see Nikki.
Mm.
Okay. All right, let's see. I'm having a little bit trying to. Let me skip ahead here. Oh, that's not what I want to do. So in my opinion, I would have like another model or something like that to show like, wiggly toes or something like that. I mean, obviously you don't show your own toes or something, but that's. He is not, he is adorable. So you notice he changed the tool because it was slow to use the pen. Changed it midstream, which is, there you go. Proof in the pudding. Oh, there you go, Hoover. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions. I'm going to ask your expertise here. First of all, I want to just point out that this is 18 minutes into the lesson, and he only covered those 2 pages. Okay, so kind of going back to my earlier point of the lesson plans, when, covering 5 minutes per, depending on, again, the level of the student's very bright, but as we know in TPR, a lot of demonstration, a lot of repetition, going back, repeating, correction, that sort of thing is very vitally important to, I think, the student's growth here. What would you guys do? What do you like about the way you don't have to necessarily about the teaching style, but what do you like about this particular the way this teaching lesson is going? What would you do different? What would you recommend?
I would have tried to use a lot more inflection and a lot more TPR, a lot more visuals, and a lot more voice inflection for emphasis to try to maintain attention.
Yes, I noticed the distraction. The student, he's had something in his hand, he was doing something else. Peter did kind of catch his attention a little bit, and of course we got Nikki to draw their attention. So yeah, absolutely. What about you, Janice?
I think I would actually add more visuals where I would actually draw like big eyes and hold them up, while I'm talking to them. Same thing with hands. I would actually use maybe some color markers to make it bright and draw on piece of paper. So I probably would keep paper beside me all the time while I'm doing the lessons, and that way he can, while he's looking at me, then he's not so distracted, because I'll just hold up these different prompts that shows him what the eyes and the hands and the feet should look like. So I think that would maybe gather his attention a little bit more.
Foam fingers.
Yes, there you go.
You can now advertise your favorite. No, I'm kidding. If you're a Steelers, I hope you're not. But you can. I was like for East Coast fans or whatever. I'm not really a East fan, but if I were to have Raiders or maybe Dodgers or something, I would.
Exactly.
Okay, Nadine, what do you think? What would you?
Oh, I would have used more visuals also.
Visuals, okay. Yeah, I feel like a little bit that's what's missing here. Sometimes using more visuals or some sort of aid besides what's on the screen. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think so. Again, we're in 18 minutes, and I think he has about 5 more minutes here. So it looks like he's using dialogue. What does he forget to do here? I think he's done, but then. Oh, he is, so he definitely keeps on with the same, he can cover, but what can he do? He can actually use the zoom tool, and he can use this and cover like that. Right. So yeah, he's just, he's kind of prolonging the lesson a little bit and kind of repeating and using the same information and testing the student, which I think is nice. Let me, I have to go back to my mouse. Where am I? Stupid video, okay. Okay. They're all drawing. Oh, he forgot he's used Zumu. Yeah. There you go. Another reason why it's important to possibly just focus on one annotation tool and use both, because you'll forget. Tic-tac-toe, it's in his. Oh.
So is he searching for what he needs to do next, or what is
Yeah, so here is what, so he's trying to use the feature down here to search for
Okay.
next, but my recommendation is to pause the screen, right? Pause your share, then move into what you're going to do next. So you're not, so the student's not having to look at everything that you're trying to accomplish. I know that sometimes in the midst of the lesson, sometimes that's hard to forget, you know. So you know he's a well prepared teacher, so he might have just gone and fumbled a little bit. Yeah, so I would try to recommend. That's why we try not to. We ask you not to try to kind of move from one place to another in between units all the time. But if you have, that's what that tool is for. This little tool is to try to move in between the lessons.
So, Manny, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You had mentioned there are a couple of things about Jumo I just wanted to be clear about. Could you clarify again for us how we can make sure, how we can pause our screen so we can be working on something? I noticed we ran into that situation a few times where you were on a different screen, but we saw another one.
Yeah, that's yes.
I want to be
yes.
how to do that, so I
yes.
also how to undo it.
Sure. Yes, please. So anytime that you share the screen, so you remember yesterday where I had you guys do a little bit of the screen shares.
Yeah.
So there's a feature on Jumo that you cannot see because you cannot see my toolbar, but there's the pause the share, okay, and then there's resume share. So that was what I didn't do, is I didn't resume the share. So when you pause the share, they can see the same screen, and you got to make sure that you just resume the share. And that's what I failed to do twice in this video. It was resume the share. And so you know, I was testing you guys. I did it on purpose. Want to make sure you're paying attention. I'm kidding. I totally forgot to do it. So, so resume the share is the feature. So right now, I pause the share, and let's say if I wanted to stop this and it goes to somewhere else, just so you're not seeing everything, you're seeing all the same things, and then now I'm like, okay, I'm back in Big English. We're gonna look at drawing the boy's dog, and now I've resumed the share, and here I am back on that section. So you're not having to see all of the navigation that I'm doing. So, but obviously, if I don't do that, I'm like, okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Oh boy, where is that again? Okay, here it is. Let me go. So you're now seeing everything that I'm doing. Which is a little more.
I have a question, Manya.
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there a video or something he could be watching while you're navigating through, if you're something you're trying to locate in the lesson, that would kind of entertain him until you're able to get back on point to where you need to be?
Well, that would be up to the teacher. The only unfortunate part about that is if you're sharing the screen, you're not going to, if you pause the screen, they can only see what's going on in the screen. Now, what you could do is, let's say you pause the screen right what we're looking at here. So I resume the share. So you can ask him questions while you're trying to navigate, if your mind is able to do kind of multitask and just say, okay, want to review, show me your eye, show me your nose. So as you're going through it, if you have to navigate to another screen or you have to go back to do that, then at least you can keep him entertained while that's going on. But as far as showing video, I think that would be a little more difficult. He's not able to see your screen at that point,
Okay. Well, the review option is good. That was a good suggestion. So that's good.
Okay. Yeah. Do something. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? We're at 21 minutes here. See what else we on. Oops. Okay. All right. I totally went back to the beginning for some reason. So 22 minutes, so he covers 23. So yes, you got a kind of little bit of fumble here. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts. So he actually made up this song, okay? And if this is something that you're going to put in your lesson plan and do, great. This is an actually, as you know, well-known song, so why not, right? So he actually breaks out his guitar and sings the song. Oh, I think he does, maybe. I don't know if he breaks out the, no, he doesn't break out the guitar here. But TPR related. She's so cute. Okay, so why do you think that he might have used his own song or a song that's separate from the big English song that's normally in the unit?
Entertain him.
And
They needed a break.
maybe a break from the big English song. So he just kind of, yeah, there you go. Maybe he's already heard it a couple times. Why else do you think he might have used it? A different one?
Well, because he's familiar with it as well. You know, it's more commonly known. So if it's more commonly known, there's a chance the student knows the tune already. Maybe not the words, but the tune.
Sure, the tune, right? Yeah, very good. My thought too is just because, I mean, I think you're both right. So I absolutely think it's just a common song, and also it just give you a break from the actual big English. The other thing too is because what I love the other songs, they're not that familiar, but they're fun and they're engaging. But if the teacher's going to sing and the student's going to sing, and they're kind of the words are a little more, I think they're a little more complex sentence structure, anyways. But also, there's a little bit, as you notice, a little bit of a delay. So sometimes the audio in the big English singing portion is a little more. It can be intermittent. So for big English, I think that if you're going to sing the song, you can have them, you can always, I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to go to the song, the My Body song. I love the My Body song, by the way. I think I told you guys that yesterday. But the song is fun, and you can still sing the song. But what you could do is, if you're going to do the song at the end, you could just do the karaoke part of it.
So you can sing if you know it well enough. Peter might have not known it well enough, Teacher Peter. So this is the kids singing it. So you can mouth the words. So that's the option in the beginning, but there's also the karaoke option. Nadine, you love the song way too much. I see you smiling and dancing over there.
I think she just loves your TPR.
Oh my goodness. That's not it. You should really see me get going. I'm kidding. But this is karaoke. They can sing along with you. With my ears I hear, with my arms I see. I can't sing. Mouth I sing, sing along with me. I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes, 2 arms and 2 legs, but just one nose. I wave my hands in the air, I run my fingers through. See, I can't sing. That's why I like the other song. And then I sing my body's song. My body's song. I sing my body's song again. So whenever I hear this song, when people are doing it together, or any song rather, and they're trying to sing with the words, so rather using this symbol here, singing with the words, I can sing with the words, but then there's a delay. So when the students are trying to sing as well, then you can kind of, it's not in sync, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you feel like you have, some sort of a singing voice or singing talent, absolutely, you can use the karaoke, or just, even if they want to sing the words together, you want to sing the words together with the student. So I think that's the biggest reason why he didn't really want to use it, other than just kind of break the the theme here of using big English songs. He just wanted to use something familiar. It's also because sometimes there's that intermittent portion of it. So, all right. All right, so I think we're going to pretty much end it here. I did want to, tomorrow I'm going to do a little video. We're going to talk about, or the video will talk about 4 all rubrics. It will talk about the student progress tracker. You guys could see that video at your leisure. I feel like it's most important that you learn more about the big English, the levels, and then we can, if you have questions about 4 all rubrics, we can have a one-on-one. The TeachWorks is pretty self-explanatory. That's not a slide on here, but that is a scheduling software that we use for the schedule, as I mentioned before. But I do want to show you what a rubric looks like so you can get an idea. Oh. So there we go. Oh. So pretty sure I still have access to this rubric here. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, so Peter, he had, actually, this is the lesson. The lesson that you just watched, you just viewed, is the same one that Peter had assessed Hoover.
Okay, so so you can see that this is, and you're gonna definitely have access to this particular rubric, but this is the Big English GSC rubric, Global Scale of English rubric. Okay, and you'll see here on the bottom, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, and these are the learning outcomes. Okay, so if Hoover was a little less advanced, perhaps Peter would mark these sections here, the very first sections. But you can see that he still has some issues with speaking, so he just marked the first level, but his listening, reading, and even his writing has a little more advanced, and he looks like he might be ready to advance to level 2, but he's not quite there yet. So this is a rubric, or this was a rubric was designed by me, but the actual levels that you see here, starter, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced, those were created by Pearson. And their number system is based on the Common European Framework of Languages, okay, the CEFR. All right, and usually that's the European version, A1, A2, A2 plus, B1, and B1 plus. Okay. If you're interested in on how that was developed, if you want to learn more about that, I have in our I'm going to try to pull it up here if I can. Okay. So in our documents, under admin, I'm sorry, not under admin, under Pearson documents here, there is the assessments. And so it's our regular assessment here. This is what it looks like without without Peter's manipulation. So that's what the rubric, how it was created. But it is based on young learners, the global scale of English. Okay. So this is their PDF from their website. And so basically all I did was transfer it over into our 4L rubrics. Okay. So, but it's pretty much all of the same standards. Okay. And the same number system. Okay. So you have access to that. You can study that if you wanted to. We're in the process of working on each level, assigning each level its own rubric. So right now we just use the general rubric for all the levels. It's working just fine, especially for trying to move the students into the next level or into the next unit. But we're working on it. It's just taking a little bit longer because there's a lot of material to cover, a lot of different standards and outcomes. So. All right. And again, I only wanted to show you this as an introductory, but I will have that 1 hour of discussing assessment and talking a little bit about the scheduling. Okay, so you can have access to that and show you how you would create, or how you actually get into the rubric and make the assessment for students. Okay. All right, so it's about it's about that time. I went over a little bit. I apologize for that. I actually thought we would end class early today, but we didn't. So I'm so sorry. I'm a bad teacher. Okay, I apologize. I know some professors the professor is like, oh, can we get out early? Yeah, of course. And then we always go overtime. Students they don't enjoy that too much. But so do you guys have any final questions? Anything else before I send you guys off? You can eat dinner.
No, thank you.
So we're able to go in and kind of maneuver around after we finish the training to kind of get used to what we're doing we're able to get in and just kind of go through different things that you showed us?
Yes, so I'm going to send you, I'm going to do my best to send you all 6 levels, if not the first 3 levels, so you can at least see the first 3 levels. But all I showed you today and yesterday was level 1, okay? So there are various units in level 1. We kind of went over unit 1, unit 3, unit 4. So, but yes, absolutely, you'll be able to kind of maneuver those, go through those. What you see here right now, we only have lessons for Big English level 1, okay? So level 2, level 3, level 4, we don't quite have lessons for those quite yet. But if you do get students in those levels, you can use the same format to create a lesson, but we're working on getting lesson plans for those. They should be up very, very soon, okay? All right. All right, but yes, I will make sure that today after we get off, I'm going to try to send those lessons to you. I'll also send you instructions on what to do, as far as scheduling time with me next week for one-on-one trial lessons. Okay, me and the China team. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for meeting with me today. And if you do have questions after this, just let me know. But I look forward to meeting you guys next week. All righty.
Thank you.
And I will post this. I will make sure to post this particular lesson, and I'll try to figure out what the other issue was. The other training day, and make sure you have both of these. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.